Hi, I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. And every time I watch the intro to my own show, it's like laughing at my own joke for 35 seconds or something. And this is Rob, the Sketchcrafter. I just got a message, I think, from Zendo. Says she cannot join. Something came up. Oh, I bet something came up. Anyways, yeah, so
Something came up, Millhouse.
yeah, right.
Uh,
Max probably ran into time traveling Mark Hamill, and they're getting married, and can't do the show anymore because it's a conflict of interest. That's just my guess. But so really quickly, or not really quickly, but it's a Star Wars show. But I do what I want. You do what you want. That's why we're friends. You went and saw the new Spider Boy movie, I believe is what you said, huh? You went out to the movie
yes, the Arachno Kid.
and it was good.
Yeah, man, I enjoyed it. It was a great time. Look, I can't tell you if you're gonna like a movie, and I really don't care to convince anybody. So you know what I mean. But got my
Is it
money's worth. So super.
is it
Super
is it
awesome.
is it controversial? Where's that coming from? Is that coming from somewhere? What you just said, or are you just talking?
No, but anytime someone says you like a movie, like, well, it's not really that great. It's like, okay, fine, time out, time out, time out. I'm not convincing anyone to see it. I'm not saying
yeah.
greatest movie of all. It's just how people get, man, with movies, man. It's almost political now when you say you go see a movie. Would you support the movie? You support the movie? Like, okay, yeah, it's a fun movie. It's
It's
the
you were
kind of
born this way. It's not a choice that you like this movie or you don't.
I come at the movie in a slightly different angle. The first when I got my first job as a professional, like, paid artist, right? Like, full time. It was in I said t-shirts, but I the first thing I ever did was Spider-Man 3. And
Okay.
this studio had made all their money on the first two Spider-Man movies. Like, they were around for a while, but those two movies when you put them, this is crazy, 2005, right? So, I've never seen it. And they were so excited about Spider-Man
This is
3.
the
They were like,
company
this.
for me. They got a big old
They're
Spider-Man.
like, this is bonus checks are coming, man. You're gonna have a kick-ass Christmas.
That
Prepare.
was
I
your
was like,
bonus.
oh,
That was your bonus. We
oh,
put a Spider-Man in the lobby.
oh, man. And that movie did not do well at all for us.
Which one was it? Which Spider-Man?
Spider-Man 3.
Oh yeah. I actually not a hot take. I think it's kind of hilarious when he goes like evil. I kind of had fun with it, honestly. I was
Well,
like, okay, but I'm not.
you should have bought some shirts because
Never bought a Spider-Man shirt in my life.
most people didn't that year, and so that ain't go well. And then fast forward, I was there when they rebooted, right, Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man series.
Yeah.
And I was like, finally, we're gonna get a new Spider-Man series. I was super excited. They said it was gonna be low budget. They were gonna do practical effects. They were actually gonna swing, and you'd see people shooting the movie. Andrew Garfield was actually swinging, like they actually had a crane and swinging. And then they blew the budget up, and that never happened. And that didn't do well for us at all either. That movie, that 1 and 2, we didn't make any money off that. So
Yeah.
and
the,
so
the very first Spider-Man, the Macho Man sequence, they filmed literally past my McDonald's. If you want to just like put it into a Southern California logic about how far it is, past my McDonald's, and I could have been in it. They were having TV commercials on TV. Hey, come down and be in Spider-Man, and I was like, shit, I should go do that, and then I didn't do it, and then later on I was like, shit, it was Spider-Man and Macho Man. That's I don't really care about. I'm not a Spider-Man guy. I'm like, cool, whatever. But it's I really regret that. I could have saw Macho Man fighting Spider-Man. So
but you didn't. So and so this film felt to me like a form of reconciliation for all past grievances.
Okay.
Anyone may ever had.
On my screen, by the way, I don't know if everyone else is seeing you locked up, but to me, there's like a frozen image of yourself. Frozen in time. Loving Spider-Man forever.
They got me. I could
you're
drop out.
You're kind of like maybe drop out and drop back in. Just give it a fresh.
It's the flannel. It's the flannel. I know it.
Oh, it's called flannel flicker. But you are yeah, you're kind of jumping around. You're slightly max headroom on my, but I don't know, it might be me. I can't say. Finally, oh god, that guy, it's like, oh, Spider-Man this. I'm gonna go on a Star Wars show, talk about Spider-Man. Oh, but I have my own Spider-Man gripe. I'm playing Fortnite, right? And in Fortnite, the level 100 character, when you complete the season pass, battle pass, whatever it's called, when you complete that, you get Spider-Man, right? Well, last night they put the Spider-Man from the movie in there, so everybody just bought that thing. So why are you working for Spider-Man? Just to be the other? Nobody wants to be the other Spider-Man. They want to be the movie Spider-Man. Stupid. But anyways, when Rob comes back, we'll see. We'll see if he has anything else to say about Spider-Man. But so on a side note, I was just like doing my thing, and I started looking at the Philadelphia experiment, right? This has a Star Wars connection, believe it or not, in the dumbest way ever. So the Philadelphia experiment, and if you're not aware of the Philadelphia experiment, what that was, it was this rumor. It came out in the late 80s is when I think it finally came out, I believe. And it was like that they were experimenting with time travel, right? And this like World War II battleship or whatever, supposedly like they made it appear in one place and then reappear in another. But when they did it, like the people inside didn't go where they were supposed to go. So you had like arms sticking out of walls, like I'm like cut in half, like I'm a T1000, kind of like stuff, like in between walls, and you get like people like zipping and zapping and zooming at a time. And one kid, he like came out and they grabbed him. He was like invisible or something. And then he lit on fire. So it's a ridiculous story, but it's fun, right? Well, I started digging into it a little bit, and as I was digging into it, I came across this hilarious thing that, in my opinion, just pretty much, I think Rob's back, pretty much debunks the whole thing for me. Hey, Rob,
am I locked up?
Nope, you're on Night Court with Michael J. Fox and Santa Claus. It's going good. Not Star Wars Santa, I don't think.
Let me just finish what I was saying though about
yeah.
This relates to Star Wars. Whatever I saw in the theater last night further proves that Star Wars being a movie where the big special effect is watching a ship land needs to stop. It's not gonna. I was in a room full of kids, bro. You know what I mean? Like teenagers, like mostly teenagers, and they're gonna have to push it further, than what we've been doing. Just letting you know.
Okay,
gonna happen.
It's time to visually grow. I'm cool with that. I mean, George said, just doing George Lucas really, really well, over and over again, is a little bit boring now. It's getting more boring. It's good for the Star Wars TV shows, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's how my wife feels.
Star Wars films, yeah, I'm with you. So, no, you're familiar with the Philadelphia experiment, right?
Oh yes.
Okay. So I was kind of like setting up what it was a little bit. Basically, they moved a ship from one place to another using like a time travel kind of stuff. And
sure,
but you'll hear you'll hear it and it has like UFO connections we won't get into, but you hear about it as the basis of all of these other conspiracy theories at times and stuff like that. And so it's fun. It's stupid fun, right? Well, so I was like, wow, I should look into the Philadelphia experiment just to see, because we were talking about that one dude's son who was like supposedly like yeah, we have time travel. We were able to defeat the U-boats by moving our ships away from where they were going to attack and then killing them. And it was like this is all BS, but it's fun. I'll listen to what he has to say. And I do believe that guy believes what he was saying, though. But yeah, so.
And what group of people in this country really believes in what they believe in, regardless of how crazy it sounds?
So as I was looking into it, Rick Jones says I knew Al Beliak. Not sure how you say that last name. We'll call him Al. Belloc, Indiana Jones' nemesis.
No, Bleak. Bleak. I thought it was Al Bellic. Bellic. Yeah, man. The last time, because I remember the Philadelphia experiment was a big deal.
That's Blossom.
On Coast to, huh?
Blossom, isn't her name Al Belliak?
Mayan Balik. Not even close, my friend. But okay. Anyway, I just remember it was really big on Coast to Coast from about 97 to 2005, and then everyone was like, "Oh, drat."
Oh. Well, so there's a really fun blog that I'm new to, so I'm not gonna say hey, everything on here is good. I don't know. When you come into the conspiracy weird stuff, you never know what they're gonna start saying. But from what I saw, it seemed like it was a fun blog, and it's swallowingthecamel.me, right? And they do really.
You know what? It wasn't taken. Gotta give them credit.
And they do a really good job of pulling in all of the facts, though. As I was reading everything and I started at first I was like, this is fun. Let's really dig into it. But I was like, you know what? It's such bullshit. I'm like, but something's obviously bullshit. I do lose interest in it other than laughing at it for a time, And so Alfred Belliak was born in 1927. This is from that site, according to the forged birth certificate provided to him, and became an electronics engineer in California and Arizona, working for various military contractors. His first unusual life experience came in 1956 when he encountered a man he now identifies as Mark Hamill. The actor would have been about 5 years old at this point, but apparently this was a future Mark Hamill who was dropping in on 1956 for some reason.
He was aiming for November 5th, 1955, but missed it by that much.
So Mark Hamill is a time traveler. Why? What's he doing? What's he trying to change? Is he trying to change the sequel trilogy? Is he trying to use chaos magic to somehow make The Last Jedi not happen? And what's the connection to 1956? Is that the year, perhaps, that the parents of Rian Johnson were married? I don't know. What is the connection? That's up to you guys to solve. Sorry, I started connecting the dots, man, and you know how I get when I start connecting the dots. But
well, 11/22/63, he originally appears in 1958, so it was a 5-year wait to save Kennedy. Maybe the closet took Mark Hamill. He got lost in a shoe closet and ended up in 1956. I was like, what the? It's possible.
Yeah. It's true. You're not wrong, but what's wrong with the past that Mark Hamill needs to fix it? What's Mark Hamill trying to hide? These are just the questions that you guys should be asking that people aren't asking.
Remember when they said that time traveler needed a specific computer or motherboard that was only available in 19 something? There was a very specific computer part. And they were like, it's true, they stopped manufacturing. It's very hard to get. And the only way to get it would have been to go back in time. The internet was convinced that was the proof of time travel.
Yeah. Earlier, my dad showed me this video, and he's like, dude, there's this video, and it's showing all these people from 2027. They're just nobody's there. I'm like, yeah, you could probably just erase the people if you really filmed it when there was nobody there. And he's like, no, man, the video says that's like almost impossible to do. I'm like, no, it's pretty easy actually. It's pretty easy. But
Star Wars Santa. Rob means Klaus. Yeah. Oh, Claus? No, I meant Santa Claus. He's a North Pole war criminal. You know,
I am Santa Claus.
He's hiding out from the tribunals, the Jack Frost tribunals. You know,
I want Santa to start making art films, really, really complicated art films. But wait,
they should have made that. You know, in a world of like when something's popular, they make a direct kind of knockoff. The Santa Claus, right, was a big deal for a while. Not my movie, but whatever. Yeah. There should have been a Hana Claus, right? Like Hana Claus. Like I could see the Hollywood video. Like you know, you got to support all groups. You got to make something.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Krampus on this one. I'm gonna go with Krampus on this one.
Hana Krampus? Sure. 8 days of terror. Like, yeah. Oh shit. Sorry, Adam Sandler.
Right. But since he's a vampire and what we do in the shadows, the conspiracy theory guy. Explain that.
Adam Sandler?
But yeah, I don't know. For some reason. So anyways, I meant to take a screenshot of it, but I didn't because I messed up. Wait, did I? No, I messed up. But basically, last podcast on the left, which has an episode I never heard before, and they read about the Mark Hamill bit on it, and Mark Hamill listens to that show, and he commented on their Twitter. And he said, "Sorry, didn't go to Hawaii till the late '60s or something like that."
Yeah, they're a little controversial right now.
Who? Last podcast?
Last podcast on the left. Yeah, they decided to put out a contest. You remember that? You remember a while back? Who was it? Some celebrity was it? Put out like a contest for animation. Like send your animation samples, and then the winner will get like $500, and like it was like go work for free to promote our fucking shit. The last podcast on the left decided to do the same thing with comic books. Send us your 10-page fully drawn story, and if you win, we'll give you $3,500. Okay, you know, and it was like have us draw for free for a chance to win, not like.
Well, that's. I mean, I'm gonna go
10 pages, bro. Down. There's no.
No. See, you're coming at this from like the comic book side of things, though, right? I mean, like I could see.
Come at this from working for free shit, dude. You know, like it's ridiculous.
But what I'm going to say is that I could see it's a lot like when somebody asks a real artist to draw their softball t-shirts. You know what I mean? They may not have known exactly what they were asking somebody to do. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I don't know. They're podcasting comedians. Did they fucking know what, you know what I mean? What? I mean, I could see doing that too. I could
shoot us a 30-minute fully finished Star Wars fan film, and if we like it, we might feature you.
I don't know.
You see, yeah, there. I didn't know I didn't know movies were hard.
Yeah.
So. But, sorry.
I mean,
it's a boner. They're gonna have to fix it.
Well, I mean, I still, I'm not following though. If you know it's bullshit, why would you do it? And I mean, you know what I mean. If you know it's that much work, like if okay, right now I'm gonna do it.
I'm not saying they knew it. I'm saying they pulled an idiot move, right?
So yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like you know, if somebody's asking you to do a shit ton of work for a free, and you don't want to do it, don't do it. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of where I would come at it from. Like, yeah, make me a Star Wars fan film and use all your money on it. And if you win, I'll buy you Taco Bell. Why would you do it if it's not worth your time? But
that's the whole point, Jason. They apologize, but come on. We live in a pretty fucking modern time, bro. Like asking people to draw anything or write full scripts on spec for a contest is look, this is little kid stuff. Like you take the same image and you scribble it and you color it and the best one will win something. I get it. Right. But when you're asking professionals to do anything at a professional level, right?
Yeah.
For any form of minute one person will get the compensation.
Yeah.
You know, is ridiculous. So
yeah. I mean, Yeah, I mean, I just would use my brain and not do it. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody was
Oh
like,
yeah, no one did it. They apologized and took it back. But
oh, okay, well, there you go. Yeah, but anyways, Mark Hamill denies it. Do you buy it? I don't know. I think Mark Hamill has something to hide. No, it is it's just so ridiculous, but it's so good because whenever you
this
hear anything about this, remember whenever you hear anything about the Philadelphia experiment, remember that the guy says he met Mark Hamill in 1956. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just ridiculous notion.
there's all these weird Star Wars connections with paranormal or psychic or psychotic moments
Yeah,
in history that are probably because it was the first pop culture thing and they just latch onto it. No one ever says the guy from Buckaroo Banzai was there in 1956. Like, Peter Weller,
yeah. James Woods is an asshole.
Peter Weller, yeah. Well, I get why James Woods would go back to the 50s.
Oh, sure.
That actually makes the most
Yeah,
sense.
they have lines for water fountains that worked for him back then. But basically, yeah. So
Oh
I looked
no.
it up on military.com. Yeah, military.com. I was just curious though. I was like, was there any foundations for any of the truth to the Philadelphia experiment? And there's this little part in military.com, an article that's interesting, but they say according to Edward Dungeon, looks like it says dungeon, but it's Dugian or something, who served in the U.S. Navy aboard the USS Ingstrom, which was dry docked in the Philadelphia Naval Yard where the Eldridge was. Both ships did have classified devices on board. They were neither invisibility cloaks nor teleportation devices designed by aliens, but instead they scrambled the magnetic signatures of ships using degaussing techniques, which provided protection from magnetic torpedoes aboard U-boats. So that's what was really going on there. Does it explain why Mark Hamill was in Hawaii in 1956? No, it doesn't, and that's for Mark to explain. Because honestly, we demand answers.
Why wasn't he?
Right?
What's wrong with you? Not good enough for you, Mark Hill?
I mean, maybe give our old buddy George the when he was like Max pointed out that George was young and hot, and maybe give him the heads up that the Marshall thing ain't gonna work out. So get that Star Wars editing in, but then play your cards right.
He's like 11 years old.
No, not 1956. Just in general, like,
okay.
Hey, just so you know, get with Marsha. It's gonna be good. It's gonna work out for a time. But by 83, dude, make sure you are going out with Tina Turner. Follow your passions because it doesn't work out, and when you're done, hire a bunch of carpenters, not the band, but the actual. Oh, and also have somebody looking on Karen Carpenter because she made really good music, and it's unfortunate what happens. So make sure somebody takes care of her. Future Mark Hamill, you can make the future better. But yeah. So, anyways, yesterday
it's all just dating advice. Every time travel movies to go back and just get people to never anything really significant. You just gotta date better people.
Yeah. True.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, man, if only I had that knowledge. Anyways,
oh no.
Did we see Penny start to like bleep out?
What?
Oh no, Penny.
Hamill's like, I did you a solid, Wards. I went back and solved that problem.
No, Penny. I am
MakingTimeTravels.com.
Yeah. Wait, somebody said Rob was right. Craig Sheldon said Rob is right. Bright as rain. Okay.
About the rant.
Okay. Let me throw this up. Okay. I like that actually. That's kind of fun. There's a TV Guide episode. I'm actually going to do it backwards because
is TV Guide still around?
I guess it's called TV Guide Magazine now. And
Okay.
yeah, and these are some images from it. Fun. Here they are. They're all Rangers of the New Republic. To be announced. Disney Plus. The Democratic New Republic is explored in this drama, and its future hangs in the balance. It's not an active development, according to Lucasfilm. It is. If it happens, it'll be set in the time with The Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka. Did someone say crossover? Stars, they're just like us, right? Right, guys? But yeah, I this whole by the way, I find this whole TV guide thing just sort of strange and kind of fascinating because we're gonna see some things that we've seen before other places. And so I guess maybe the when we get to the Boba stuff, that's where I'm like, did we do this page and I just am remembering it, or are they just saying the same stuff over and over now? But and an Acolyte, this mystery thriller from Leslie Headland Rushendall will be set during the final days of the High Republic era, which was the golden age of the Jedi and the height of the Galactic Republic. It also plans to uncover some of the shadowy secrets of the dark side of the Force. All right.
So a Sith caravan showed up and ruined everything.
Sith caravan. I'm good. Okay, Lando, writer and producer Justin Simeon, Dear White People, is in early stages of development with this series centered on smooth-talking smuggler Lando Calrissian.
Did they put a little comma? I can't see from here. Did they put a little after the end, like talking?
It has like a hyphen. Smooth talking.
A hyphen. I like it.
You gotta hyphenate that. Casting has yet to be announced for the show, but he originally played by Billy D. Williams and recently by Donald Glover. So,
and next, Jaleel White.
Jaleel White. Remember when he would become like the hot Urkel and like
hot Devon?
Yeah. They should make that into a spinoff, right? And then like
there was a friend of mine who's African American, and his buddy.
Hold on. Wait, you have a friend who's an African American? Not racist.
I bring this.
He cannot be racist though, because he has a friend who's an African American.
Yes, I can be racist, but I'm not. Okay, so
I'm kidding.
What are we doing? So we're all setting ourselves up for failure with that conversation. So it's failure all around. Everyone on that failure on the house, everybody. So but I bring it up because there was a friend of his that was convinced that his wife was trying to sleep with my friend, right? Okay. For whatever reason. But this guy that was convinced, his name was Devin.
Okay.
And I was like, Devon? It was just funny because this guy was a smooth, like, he's like, yeah, oh shit, I'm sorry, the kid, I gotta be careful. But anyways, it was just funny because I remember going, Devon, and then my buddy goes, oh, wait a minute. Like it was, and it turns out that guy was actually the player in the conversation. So Devon really was the player. And it all came out eventually, and it was the greatest. But whatever. I was like, maybe he's real. Maybe he has an alter ego.
Devon.
By the way, when they announced that they weren't going to recast T'Challa and Black Panther, I was bummed out because I was like, T'Churkel, man, like we could really get Jaleel White, man, could really get pumped up and come back as a grittier,
Well, if you ever decide to partake in the marijuana, Urkel now sells it. He sells it. He has his own strain called Purple Urkel, and
that's great.
I don't know how he's not. I don't know how that's not going to come back on him. I don't believe he owns the rights to Urkel, but
I think it's just a weird name. You can't, like, if it's one word, you can't. You could put you could put.
Pass him off, going like, did I do that?
Like if you did Tando Mandalorian, I don't think anyone can do anything about that. Like that's one word.
All right. So Andor, when we last left Diego Luna's complicated rebel hero casting Andor, he and Felicity Jones, Jaren Erso, were dying tragically after bringing a new hope to the galaxy at the end of 2016's Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. But one of the canon's greatest heroes deserves a spirited backstory, and for 12 episodes, the spinoff provides one in Rogue One co-writer Tony Gilroy's spy thriller.
Johnny don't care though.
This tale of the roots of the rebellion co-stars Stellan Skarsgård, Ardella Arjona, Fiona Shaw, blah, 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 the whole cast. There's tons of possibilities to explore, an excited Luna says. It's the building of a revolution.
And Johnny don't care.
And Johnny don't care. You know who don't care? Johnny. We need a whole thing called Johnny don't care.
Diego Luna's, who's Johnny? That's just a bait. It's a bait and switch.
The Mandalorian 2022 Disney Plus. We're still gobsmacked. I hate that word. We're still gobsmacked.
He's so hard up for scoops. He's turned to TV guide.
Yeah, really, right?
This is how you know we don't make stuff up. Like when we've got, we're going everything. You know, like I just don't see the other sides going. Let's see what's in the TV guide. You know,
what's in the TV guide, you guys? Who appeared in the TV finale? He took the adorable but powerful alien Grogu away from his Mandalorian protector Pascal for training. But we could so that way he could stop shitting on the floor. But we can only hope these two won't stay apart for long. Here's what we know: filming began in fall of 2021, and besides Mando, we'll see the return of bounty hunter ally Greef Karga, and likely vengeful baddie Moff Gideon, who is surely not pleased that he's lost Grogu as well.
Cheers, Greef Karga. Jeers, Moff Gideon.
Yes. Yeah.
Come on.
And what is my my horoscope for the week? It's gonna be bad. That's all I know. It's gonna be bad. Is it gonna be good? Nope. It ain't gonna be good. It's gonna be bad. All right.
I just always wish those horoscopes said stay away from movie theaters. What? Like something really specific yet still vague.
Oh, wait a minute. You know what? See, you know what? It did this to me yesterday. Okay, hold on. It did this to me yesterday. It's trying to hide an image from me, and I'm not going to let it. I will not be silenced by TV Guide. You guys understand me? Do you hear me, TV Guide? You will not silence me. All right, let me share that again. Because there's more. There's a lot more. But more Star Wars on TV is what it's going to say when I put it on the screen.
But no mentions of Rangers of the Republic. You must not have happened. He's canceled.
Holy Sith! Never heard that one before. Ewan McGregor is slipping back into the hooded cloak. Hey, whoa, watch that. That sounds bad in 2021. Hooded cloak of the old wizard we first met back in 1977's episode 4, New Hope. He's bringing the franchise's original baddie with him.
Roy baddie.
That's very vague. It's like, number one, he was in Revenge of the Sith. Maybe go there. And you got to say it's Darth Vader. And everybody's like, what? The original baddie?
Baddie, not Roy baddie.
Set 10 years after McGregor's exiled Jedi Master delivered a newborn Luke and Owen Beru Lars, Joel Edgerton, and Bonnie Pierce also returning on Tatooine at the end of 2005's Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. This limited series adventure, which was first announced in 2019, finds life.
Adventure confirmed! Adventure confirmed!
Adventure confirmed! Penny, what are you looking for in Obi-Wan Kenobi? I hope it's adventure, because that's confirmed.
Al Bellic.
Not only is he still on young Skywalker protection duty, but he also needs to be a guard for his own safety. There are Jedi hunters out there, showrunner director Deborah Chow ominously warns. This is a dark time we're coming to. That has nothing to do with the show. Deborah Chow just believes there's Jedi hunters out there. And this is a dark time. She's just talking about in general. It has nothing to do with Kenobi. She's lost her mind. Not to mention a Darth Time 2. Guys, a Darth Time 2. Did you catch that one?
Come on, it's TV Guide. If you don't put puns in, you're not doing your job.
A Darth Time 2. Just in case Star Wars is back. A Dark Time too. Okay, here we go. Oh god, I don't want to read that again. The series will finally reunite a guilt-ridden Ben with the corrupted former Padawan he left for dead after their epic lightsaber duel over the flowing lava on the planet Mustafar in revenge.
Mustafart?
Mustafart.
What?
Mustafart.
Shoof. Oh, smell bad.
I was like, good Lord.
Well, it would smell like sulfur, Rob, because, it is like a sulfurous planet.
It's methane and
DeGrasse Tyson says the law of the planet can't actually exist in the sun. That's called the sun, you nitwit.
Did you know about the space worms on Venus, Rob?
What about Venus?
There's space worms on Venus, and NASA's gonna confirm it. They actually believe that because they found like all this methane, so they think that there's worms under the ice ocean that are farting and making this methane.
Oh, actually, it's an illegal cow operation. The lizard people have been abducting cows and growing them under the moons of Venus to cultivate farts, to government weather weapon, to.
And why did Mark Hamill need to go back in time?
Not gonna make you raise jokes too easy. It's too easy.
Why? Yeah, but what's the Mark Hamill connection? That's the real question, Alex.
Look, this isn't a spoiler because we can all know, but I live in Idaho, and anytime Marvel's J. Jonah Jameson comes up and is completely mimicking Alex Jones, the person next to me ain't laughing, and I belt out. This is the one time I keep quiet because of the mask now, but I belt out the Harry and the Hendersons laugh. And then I'm totally silent the whole time. Anytime they mimic Alex Jones, and then totally quiet.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Rob. I do.
Just so everyone knows where I stand, right?
Right.
So you know.
Now, I have to say though, I am mad at TV Guide for overlooking It's Chow Time. Just gonna throw that out there, but it's not too late when they cover Kenobi. They can have It's Chow Time when they have a little Chow quote. It's Chow time. Chow's time to shine. Okay, so anyways, then they say the cast. Ahsoka, Rosario Dawson is set to reprise her role as the saber-wielding badass Ahsoka Tano. Hey, this ain't your grandma's TV Guide, you guys. They said badass. Former student.
Our grandma's slightly racist TV Guide, where they would have said some stupid shit like, this director is rising like the sun, and some stupid fucking shit. They would. Back in the day, there was always some vaguely like, if there was anyone who wasn't white, doing something, there would be some nonsense in there. I had to pick it out as a kid. I'm like, oh, look at that. Look at that.
Oh, hey, check it out.
Oh, yeah. Look, they mentioned Webster again.
Wow, it's really weird that they said that Different Strokes was inspired by Roots. I don't see the connection, but they say it nonetheless. Originally introduced in the popular animated film and series Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Dawson donned the Togruta-born icons Montrals at the first live-action iteration of the character for The Mandalorian Season 2, and immediately earned raves, not jeers, but more like cheers, you guys. Now we'll get to see what she's been up to since her run-in with Grogu and Mando, Pedro Pascal. And rumor is it may involve a certain blue-skinned baddie, and some Star Wars Rebels alums come to life. DH. What
George Lucas is the captain from the Galactic Star Cruiser. Oh my god, I can't
wait. Yeah, it's weird that like it just says like DH at the end. I'm like, who is that? Like, what does that mean? But and then here's the Boba Fett page. Now the Boba Fett page is where I'm like, this is where it gets I don't know if we already read this and I just happened to teleport through time and forget. But I feel like it's saying what the other stuff is saying. So I think now we're starting to see that these comments aren't off the cuff, you guys. It's like it's all planned.
This was PR's master strategy, TV Guide.
Right. In a Star Wars
Kathy's like,
universe,
I love TV Guy.
in a Star Wars
Two shoes ain't
universe
cover.
that has found great glory in returning favorites, young Han, old Luke, Baby Yoda, there may be no resurrection more welcome than the Book of Boba Fett. As faithful fans of the franchise know, stoic bounty hunter Boba Fett is the space set canon's ultimate quiet mass antihero. See, I feel like I read this already.
Or is he an anti-hero? Would you call Boba Fett an anti-hero?
Yeah, I think so.
I guess.
I think so. I mean, he's really a villain who we like so much that we're just saying he's a hero now and gonna give him.
I'm a rebel, Donnie.
Yeah. A character who piqued great interest in the 1980 film Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, met a ridiculous end in 1983's Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, and has backstory told in the prequel films that followed. Finally, he's back. See, like, doesn't this feel just like the Hollywood Reporter stuff? Like, exactly?
It's almost as if they're writing for the same two places.
The badass fighter played at Tamara Morrison was technically reintroduced during the second season of The Mandalorian to help the heroic Mando, Pedro Pascal, rescue a kidnapped Grogu, aka Baby Yoda. But now, after a return that fans have waited nearly 4 decades for, Boba snaps out his fiery wrist rockets and tries to run an underground
Black Widow style.
Yeah.
What?
And the Disney Plus spinoff. Turn the page for even more, bitch. Next, in the long line of Lucasfilm's on-screen space westerns to come. Trying to find out how Boba survived his big screen demise, he somehow escaped from a toothy Sarlacc pit. That's the third time, you guys. That's the third time.
That seems. You know what it reminds me of? You ever see that movie Nightcrawler with Mysterio? You know, like
No,
what's his face?
I didn't see it.
You know, no.
I know of it. I didn't see it. No.
Dude, you should watch that. Like,
Okay.
but there's this point where they're on the news, and he's a guy who goes out and gets, you know, footage of, you know, wrecks, car wrecks, whatever, and he has very specific words that the news reporters have to say on air.
Yeah,
you know, he's like, make sure you say I'm a professional news gathering source. And so then, like, when they're showing the footage, they go, "This is from a professional news gathering." Like the toothy thing was the thing that stuck. Make sure you say it's a toothy.
God, I mean,
toothy trap.
Like, did we read this specific article already? Or, I mean, because that is a very specific thing to call a giant vaginal monster. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's like, did Lucasfilm send out notes saying, do not mention, what's it called? Vagina dentata? and say toothy Sarlacc. I mean,
toothy. I've never heard outside of like the last 2 articles anyone refer to the Sarlacc as a toothy.
This is three articles that said that specifically, I believe.
Yeah, those look like talking points, you know.
Yeah. And Sarlacc pit, and what he's been up to is like anything in the hush Star Wars world where the questions outweigh the answers. Thanks, J.J. Abrams. But the series offers some details on the mysterious character. He's hard and raw, but he changes a lot, says Morrison, who originally played Boba's father, Jango Fett, and his clones in the 2000s prequel films.
You think he said that on a bet? Watch me, I want to say hard and raw and get away with it.
Is Hollywood Reporter and TV Guide the same thing? No. I mean, this is the same article. He's had a tough upbringing in terms of losing his dad and having to find his way and figure out who he is and where he's from. He has a few chips on his shoulder. I already read this. That murky history leaves a fairly blank slate for the character, which excited executive producer Robert Rodriguez, who directs 3 of the 7 episodes in Book's first season, that's the same too. Huh. I always loved Boba Fett, and that there wasn't very much known about him. He says, now I think Boba will be synonymous with a really great time. I think we heard him say that in a different article, exactly. There are a lot of challenges that he deals with in a very unorthodox way. We read, yeah, that's the same quote. Did they have like a press junker where they just like said this to everybody, and then they're like, they tell me this specifically, says Rodriguez, but they were just saying it to a room full of journalists? By the way, I've been watching.
Yeah, their TV Guide is owned by NTVB, but they don't own Hollywood Reporter. So my guess is exactly that. There must have been like a Zoom call or something that everyone was on. Yeah.
Those challenges stem from Boba's actions in last December's after credits scene in the Mando season 2 finale, where the warrior returns to the double sun desert planet Tatooine. Viewers saw Boba swiftly kill the successor of gangster villain Jabba the Hutt, who was taken out by Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia. And this is the same article, dude. This is the same thing. Not that much time has passed, explains about when the new story begins. We're setting up the underworld that has never really been explored. And then Rob has to say, am I living a Groundhog Day? Am I Groundhog Daying my life right now? Because
right on the show,
Boba had a tough upbringing, having to find his way. He has the future. But yeah, because that's where you mentioned Solo, a Star Wars story, right? We're setting up this underworld that has never really been explored, and you're like, Solo, a Star Wars story, and I was like, nerd.
Yeah, it's the same one.
This dangerous underbelly to the sandy planet will be filled with threats for Boba and Fennec, which he likens to the Godfather. Wait, Fennec, blah blah blah. Teases. Does it mention Conan? Likens to the Godfather. Boba grew up without sort of military training. Fennec grew up on the streets. There's still a new union also benefits from a shared experience, cheating the Grim Reaper. Yeah, see this. I feel like this is like in like two other articles that we read, maybe, or maybe it's just the same fucking thing.
Actually, it comes from the first 7 minutes of most of our interviews, because if we told you the rest of the interview, it just ruin everything. So.
Maybe a freelancer's just selling their work to multiple people.
No, it would spoil all the other interviews to tell you all of it. So we just keep telling you the first 7 minutes. So. Master plan.
I always like action that tells you something about the character. When sums it up, they're doers, not talkers. Another direct quote from the other thing. That alone is different terrain to walk on. The trade-off, playing in the Star Wars sandbox. Yeah, maybe that other thing is like TV Guide magazine. I feel like it was if it wasn't Hollywood Reporter, it was one of those other like trade kind of things. But Boba's a bounty hunter. He's not used to this, not just being in power, but trying to lead and deal with all different factions, says Rodriguez. Every time something new walks in, there's a new challenge, and you never know what's going to come through the door. I don't know. Either that's the same fucking thing verbatim, or we're living in Groundhog Day, which is totally possible. Time warps. I mean, it did happen. This did happen on the episode where I did mention the time travel, space time disruption of battleships.
It's like it's 1956 all over again.
I didn't plan that, for the record. See if anybody's like saying, want to get if you want to get conspiratorial, ask Mark Hamill where he was in 1956.
Up your butt and around the corner.
Oh, yeah. Down the street at the library. Yeah. So that was strange, but that was strange. All right. So do you want to, I have a little bit of time left because turns out my daughter stayed home because her neck hurts. She slept on it wrong and it's all jacked up. And my son gets off of school super early today, and I didn't know that until this morning. So we have to end a little bit early today. Do you want to go into the Gareth Edwards article, or do you want to call it a show?
What time is it? 1 o'clock.
Right now.
I feel like the Gareth Edwards article, if we read all of it, could take another hour. So it depends on like what you want to do. If you want to do another hour, we can do another hour.
Yeah, I don't have an hour. We'd have to jump around and edit it up. So all right, then we will just call this one a show. with the mystery. Um, if I have the energy, I'll try to figure out if those articles are actually different or not, because now I'm actually kind of curious, because that is weird. I've come across actors and people just saying the same shit in every interview, but usually there's a little bit of variance. And but that had like toothy Sarlacc. We heard it 3 times. I mean,
I've also been in those. I mean, I've been in those press junket rooms that,
I have
like
too.
at E3. The well, I'm just saying because as an artist, normally you don't go, but
Yeah,
like our editor, the editor in chief that I had, he'd been doing it so long. He's like, I don't want to go. I'm like, I want to go because there's free food. You know, the nice press booth at E3, and I
yeah,
want to see all the behind the scenes stuff. So he'd send me. He's like, well, take notes. And I wouldn't take any notes
yeah.
because I'm an artist. I'm like, you know, but I could see how like they said they really do get very specific on phrases and terminology. They'll put up bullet points they want everyone to have. So
Well,
like generally, but the phrasing of the whole article is almost a copy paste. Almost,
yeah,
not really, but
yeah. No, because I've gone to those before a few times, many times actually. Like I went to the Star Wars Rebels one, and like there's like things that they definitely say, but it was never to such a degree where I was like toothy Sarlacc, where we all would have come out of the Star Wars Rebels one saying annoying Aladdin ripoff. we all didn't come out saying that you know what I mean, the same thing like at the same time. So it's kind of a
in the
weird.
middle of everyone's article it says ripped a giant fart. Why? Why doesn't it make any
Yeah.
sense?
Oh, it was
we
me.
were all in the
It was
room.
me. It was a Mustafart.
Right. Rob had to make the joke, and everyone thought it was funny. So, okay.
Now TV guys writing Mustafart. Don't let those guys come to our press junkets anymore.
Like I was a marketing graduate. Why am I a TV guide?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we have any bits and bites coming. So we're at what the 2 week mark for Boba now, right?
We
Christmas is
are.
next week, and then the week after is Boba Fett. So we're 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's the 17th right now. And
All I gotta say is, if they don't have, if the second half of that episode isn't life changing, then this really is the classic Star Wars is just super important fluff marketing.
yeah, I
Like,
gotta say, when you really take it apart and get real with it, though, Robert Rodriguez makes things at a higher level than Favreau technically does. Favreau generally makes stuff for all ages, like kind of like
yeah, I
jazz.
get that.
That's
Zathura,
yeah. Whereas like Robert Rodriguez has done
Elf.
stuff like Spy Kids. I'm not saying that's why I think he's a good fit for it. For this Boba Fett thing. But what I'm trying to say is that Robert Rodriguez could really, I think, do elevated work, whereas Favreau's always made stuff that's kind of a light heart, Iron Man and Chef shit and shit like it. And Mando is what it is. I have to think with Robert Rodriguez being involved, this should be a better put together sequence of action stuff. And so with this being an action thing, I am expecting more from Book of Boba than I am from Mandalorian. And I don't mean it as a slight. I think that Favreau does what he does fucking great. And Favreau's first episode of Mando season 2 might be, after The Last Jedi, my favorite Star Wars thing that has come out. It might literally be The Last Jedi, Favreau's episode from season 2, the opener with the dragon, and Rogue One. Those might be my top 3 things that have come out in live action. So that's not, like I said, not a slight, just simply that Robert Rodriguez is kind of a genius at shooting action.
And can I get clarification? I'm not picking on Meg. I'm not. Yesterday I was confused, right? So I get easily confused on the show. We know. I don't know what it's a hotel. I don't know what's a cruiser. I don't know. I'm the guy who drew the pictures. So is she saying Homeboy's coming back for certain in this series? your spoiler maze, like, because
No,
you said, because it sounded to me like she said yeah and then definitely not, but definitely, like, just says, like, I'm confused on that one, like,
no,
because I was trying to warn her to not be so confident in these things because
no. Me, there is. Let's put it this way: when you follow everything to such a degree that you start to think you're living in Groundhog Day, you start to see through the veil of the liberal entertainment media. No, you start to really see. You start to see when a PR push is actually happening, and I am with
call it the
Babe.
dark stream media. Yeah.
Yeah, they are definitely trying to build hype for it. They are trying to like get it going. Is it grassroots at the Mace Windu level? Is it Samuel L. Jackson just pushing it? I mean, it very well could just simply be that. It's totally possible. He kind of Samuel L. Jackson grassroots himself into the role in the first place. But there definitely appears to be a very sort of concerted effort to push that idea. And it's easy to see those moments in the things that they can't, like, if I tell you a certain color and it's like, well, it could be like, if you say certain colors and associating with Star Wars, they mean very specific things and he won't say it. And so when you see like what Samuel L. Jackson has been doing, like we could definitely like look into that stuff, eventually, and pull up all of the random just things that are out there of him pushing it. He's doing Instagram.
Let me give you an example of my own experience, right? Yeah. So when we were working on the shirts for Age of Ultron, right? I want to say we got the first, like, they put these things called style guides together, which have the generic images. Like, they're not concept art; they're fully rendered pieces of illustration. It's concept art.
They all leaked for the Last Jedi. If you're like wondering, like, remember when I had Snoke drawn and stuff like that?
Yeah,
that was.
And the reason why they leak is because you generally get them 12 months to 8 months out. Usually, it's usually over the 6 month, because at least at the time, I have no idea how they're doing now, but they have to go the manufacturing when they're printing 100,000 shirts, that has to go to India or China or somewhere there and then come back. Right. So you get these style guides way out, and they're never really filled with spoilers because of that. But on Age of Ultron, all of the Hulk, we call it rendered art. It's the marketing art. It's the stuff that appears on backpacks and Trapper Keepers and Peachy folders and lunchboxes. The Hulks were gray. It was a gray Hulk. Okay. Yeah. And, man, like a month or two before the movie came out, all that had to be changed back to green. Yeah. And some of those shirts still shipped because what can you do? And they were like, we got to hold the overstock. Well, you going to pay, you know what I mean? $100,000 or $200,000 in overstock? Like, where's this stuff going to go? You know? And the reason for that, I was told, was he was initially gray in the movie as just an Easter egg nod, like Joss's Easter egg nod to the Gray Hulk. But there was that story group who was like, well, they're going to think the Gray Hulk is the smart Hulk, Mr. Fix-It. And no, but it was like a nod to the original Gray Hulk. And all this inner stupid thinking, right? That we don't care. It doesn't affect anything we don't care about. But they decided needs to be green, and they re-rotoed the Hulk green. Yeah. Right? And anyway, if what I'm trying to say with it is, I easily could have told everyone Hulk is 100% gray. I've seen it. That doesn't mean jack shit what you've seen. I mean, 100%, there was a floaty Luke hand at the opening of episode 7 for the longest of times. And then one day, there wasn't.
No. I mean, I've dealt with that. I was like, there's this really emotional scene where Kylo Ren goes into the Millennium Falcon, and I'm pretty sure he's Han Solo's son, and that he kills him. And I'm pretty sure because he cries at Han Solo's seat on the Falcon, and then obviously the cutscenes vindicated that kind of stuff for me. But in this,
I'm just trying to save people from You know,
Oh,
like this
no,
this from themselves. Like just don't just
well,
chill on certain
yeah.
for certain stuff. Like
I mean, when it comes, well, see, like what you have though
right.
is you have Robert Rodriguez, who is a at least an artistic friend of George Lucas,
Okay.
and who clearly talked to George. You have George saying that Mace lived, just like you said, Boba lived, and Boba's back. And George has said Mace lives now. He said it for he did it for Samuel L. Jackson. He said, "Yeah, he's alive." So he gave the George Lucas publicly the public seal of approval that Mace lives. He keeps wearing Mace Windu shirts. He's done some weird hashtag stuff to make people think that he's alive. And Boba Fett's back, and there's so once again, has it officially happened is more of the question. I
Yeah,
think
because it
it will happen, is what I
it,
believe.
it makes sense.
In real life.
It makes sense, but you know what also made sense? Luke is going to have to be in the Mando because he's got a little Force Yoda. But then you have to wait a couple. These things make sense.
Oh, for
But
sure.
sometimes making sense don't. I
But
mean, look
yeah,
at Ray. Everything that made sense to certain people, neither really got either one of them.
There were multiple paths that you could take. In terms of Boba Fett, and giving a big event with a past character for Boba Fett, you can bring Bosk into it and Dengar. None of that carries the same weight. There's nothing else in the Boba lineage of stuff that compares to Mace Windu, who cut his father's head off. And so, with all of these things together, I do not think it's happening this season. And neither does Meg. Nobody's going.
Well, they keep bringing up she doesn't because it sounded like she said it was, and then she wasn't.
No.
She wasn't, and then she was. I'm
No,
confused
no.
on that. Okay.
No. She does not think that Mace Windu. She's told me before. I'm pretty certain she's told me not to put words in her mouth, but I believe she told me before that she doesn't think Mace Windu is in the season.
Right.
But that he will. So did they film something, some kind of tease? I think that's more of the question, or is that where it's going next season? And
because they keep bringing up, I mean, in their PR, everything's PR, I get it, but they do bring up Godfather, which is not a "you killed my father" revenge story. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really trying to avoid the legacy of your father, and you didn't become your father, which I get it. They're saying the context of, well, because it's about mob gangs, but Godfather is really about a guy trying to deny his legacy, you know?
But it's about Well, it's
the first film, Michael Corleone is I'm not my father, Kate. I'm not my family, you know. And then at the end, he is.
If we want to shove it, it kind of doesn't fit. But if we want to shove it into the Joseph Campbell monomyth, the call to adventure is Michael Corleone being called to take his father's place. He is the rightful heir to his father. His brothers are idiots and fucking morons. And so it's up to him. He refuses the call. Daddy gets shot, pushes him into the place, just like Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen get killed. He's pushed into it. You cannot deny your destiny. That was his destiny. So and then in the end,
but what was Django's destiny is the question.
And Django, that's where I wanted to take this. Django Fett makes a huge deal. I'm going to assume if somebody's going to go and a military contractor comes in and hires you to clone millions of you for war, I don't think you're getting Force Awakens new cast member paychecks of 150 grand for that. I have to think you're walking out with some serious fucking dough. And I don't think that he ever got to see the end of it. I think he was seeing it through, and then Mace Windu comes in, cuts his head off. Dooku doesn't pay little Boba, was one of the backstories for a time, and just robs him of that money. And so perhaps this was where he wanted to take things, or perhaps, but also at the same time, we have the Mandalorians. and Django turns out was a Mandalorian. And we see huge displacement that happens throughout the Clone Wars and upheaval, and maybe in the end, Boba wants to take over the underworld to take Mandalore back. Maybe that's where it's going to go. There's a lot of places that so you have Django's Mandalorian heritage, and then you have Django's I want to be rich. And both of those things are on the table for Boba Fett by the end of it.
Because if it's just about trying to be in charge of a gang and getting revenge for my father, then they should have dropped us like Gangs in New York. You know what I mean? Godfather isn't really about that. Like, well, other than trying to invoke the sense of 70s nostalgia for gangster crime war films, but that's not. It's maybe and people have this impression of what Godfather, but they know what God. Don't tell me you're the podcast on the left and you don't know what Godfather is.
Maybe, but I was thinking about this yesterday too, though. Maybe Boba wants a son. Maybe Boba has hit that same place that Jango Fett was at, and he maybe he wants to have a kid. Now people are gonna go, oh, Fennec. Well, Fennec got her tummy blown up. I don't think a baby could sit in there. Also, she's like almost 60 years old. They could downplay though. They could say she looks great. She could be 40 years old for all I know. But in terms of that kind of stuff, he may care about his legacy more than he did before,
Unless she takes a Wookiee fertility pill and has like 19 Bobas,
But I mean, if you think about it though, if they were to go that route, that would allow them to put a Boba Fett clone played by Daniel Logan into post episode 9 territory.
You know what scares me? Mm-hmm. And it's not going to happen, but there is a world in which the very first thing we ever saw in the Boba Fett trailer was the monk, the spider monk.
Yeah.
I was like, what if Django's brain was a monk? No one said that, but I'm like, what? Because his brain's in that head, Star Wars. It was cauterized, so it was preserved, and then Django's now a spider monk. And he wants Boba to be a spider monk, but he's like, I'm not my family. I'm not going to be a spider monk. You heard it first. It's definitely happening.
That's so fucking crazy. I would be happy if it happened. But yeah, I mean, I think as the character is so blank and so essentially flat. I mean, honestly, it's like, a lot of people, like, it reminds me of people who think that what you own gives you a personality. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a Star Wars collection. That's a personality. It's not. And at some point, Boba Fett, he really lacks personality in a lot of ways, in the sense that I'm a bounty hunter and I'm going to get my back. Like, that's very shallow. That's that there's no depth there whatsoever. Yeah. And so how are we going to give the character heart? Like, what's it going to be? And so finishing revenge is one side. You don't need heart necessarily, but even when you look at stories like Kill Bill, which is probably the biggest revenge series that we've had, in modern times, it is actually has a heart to it. It's her daughter.
And it's a genre film, so it has all the accoutrement of genre filmmaking. By the way, when I first saw Kill Bill in theaters, I remember walking out going, like, this was what it must have felt like to see a Star Wars for the first time. Like, because the first movie is so intrinsically tied to the music and like nostalgia, like all these different kinds of things you were aware of wrapped up into a new package, that it's that first film. I love the second one, but the first film is like a Star Wars roller coaster,
the second one is good, while the first one is fucking great. You know what I mean? They are
the anime sequence.
Yeah,
like, that was my only complaint about the second one. I was like, should have had another anime sequence. There should have been.
Robert Rodriguez. I mean, wouldn't it be weird if Robert Rodriguez didn't know shit about shit and was friends with Quentin Tarantino and they did all these things? I have to think that Robert Rodriguez is on the fucking level. And so I don't see him going and playing with these concepts and it not going that way. it not
So you
being
think
about,
it's a spider monk, like?
oh, definitely no. I think I would not be surprised if by the end of it we realize, oh, this is a story about family. It may not seem like it up front. That's my guess. And my second guess is if I'm wrong after the end of this first season, I will be right by whoever comes in and does the next ones if it's not him. You know what I mean? It will become that if it's not at first. And wouldn't it be hilarious if he made it got a little clone of himself, little boy?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if the other half of the movie, hold on, if the other half of the first episode is him finding a bunch of the Bad Batch dudes, and now he's got a bunch of, the family is a bunch of D. Bradley Baker, Tamora Morrisons, right? It's still D. Bradley Baker. But like, what if it's a bunch of Tamora Morrisons at the end? That would be a big spoiler. Like that, because I'm just trying to say what imagery, because when they say we can't pull, Robert Rodriguez himself says if we pull any images from the second half of this first episode, it will spoil everything. You know what would spoil everything? A grip of fucking Tamora Morrisons. Yeah. He met up with a bunch of the Bad Batchers or the last bits of the clones or Rexes or whatever.
I mean, and just to take it into another direction, it could be because it's just so full of cameos that if they're going to ruin all of their fucking cameos as they go along. Here's Bob,
like Jim Cornette, and they got what? No, cameo, right? We got, who else is on there?
Oh, word up.
Yeah, you can get Rudy Giuliani's on there.
Oh, no.
$200.
America's Mayor? No.
Everyone's on Cameo.
Yeah. But in Godfather, it's like, I think they may just be trying to say it's a gangster movie. At its heart, and not really being very specific. Like, what does it mean to TV Guide when you say that? Oh, it's a gangster genre film, and sure, without going into like the nitty gritty specifics of it, and because they are also setting up, at least for the first episode, maybe that's all that it is, but that Fennec Shand has a different perspective about how things are supposed to go. What do we know about gangster movies and those two diametrically opposed companions? It doesn't last. It eventually comes down to survival, and when they have that disagreement, that's when people betray one another. So I'm kind of expecting Fennec Shand and Boba to eventually become enemies, or to him to get massively screwed over and her to take the thing, and at the end of the season, on his ass and a bounty hunter again, and being like, "Well, I'm back to revenge."
And had they said it's a gangster story, I would agree with you. But they keep saying Godfather. So, look, we can read into a lot of things and go, well, maybe you're looking too far. But when you specifically say a movie, I have to go, okay, there are gangsters in Godfather. I get it. But let's just say, if Lucas says, well, this was inspired by Flash Gordon and the Hidden Fortress, can I just say, well, it's Samurai? Or can I say, well, what was the basic premise of Hidden Fortress, right? What was the basic structure there? What was the structure of Flash Gordon? Yeah. And then you can pull from those things and see them in Star Wars. So there has to be something beyond Godfather, the gangster aspect. And to me, it's the family. And the only thing I can think of is, if that's true, and it might just be hyperbole, but if it's true, then it has to be a literal family story, like.
Yeah. And, but the other thing to remember is that the Bad Batch are 60-year-old men at this point, if they're alive.
Yeah, but they're badass 60-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah, they I believe they originally had it where clones just aged at double the rate. That was their way out. Then they decided, because of complications and wanting to use Tamara Morrison and stuff, they were genetically modified to age to about 60. Then they just go normal, something like that. I think, you know what I mean? Then it's just like normal aging at that point. So So it does leave it open for them to put to use Rex and stuff like that. Because I believe the other thing is I think that we're going to see Rex in the Ahsoka series, and that's Tamara Morrison's opportunity to do something different in his time to
I
continue
don't
playing
think
the
we'll
role.
see Omega until that whole thing is done. By the way, Omega. I'm like they never show you a CG character, and then we'll do the live, and then they tend to go when this is done, then we can move into the live action.
Yeah. I had some DMs asking me if the woman who's in Ahsoka who they were casting could be Omega, and I think she would be too young to be Omega because Omega is the same age as Boba Fett.
I just think the way Lucasfilm works, they're not going to do that until that cartoon is done. If the cartoon was done with Bad Batch, it was a one and done, then I'd say, well, maybe, but it's not. So,
but actually, you are bringing up. I mean, I do think we would be idiots to overlook Omega. I mean, it's a good point to consider that though. That if you are doing Godfather, what is the? I mean.
Then Omega would be the I'm not my father. I'm not Django or Boba Fett. That's the thing that then it's not. Then if it's Godfather and Omega is Corleone, that means Boba is going to be the
Sonny?
No, he's going to be
Fredo,
the Robert De Niro, Marlon Brando, Vito Corleone.
What was Fredo? Hey, come on, Omega, come on. Look,
and Steve Bradley Baker actually shows up as the Fredo clone, right?
Like,
I'm smart. I'm smart. Not stupid like the other clones.
Yeah. Conway shows up. Your cloning was an abortion, Boba. An abortion.
I can be a monk. I got brains. I can be a monk. I can fit in a jar like a snook.
Oh shit. Yeah. I mean,
what if I'm right though? My stupid take is that Django's a Bomar monk. Like it will fuck you up, right? Like what? I never thought about it until last time I'm driving back from Spider-Man, and I was just like, what? Sometimes they show you things, right? What did they show us in the trailer that they'd snake one by you, right? And then I was like, what is Godfather really about? And then I laughed. I'm like, the first thing we ever saw was that freaking monk. What if Django's brain, and that is so 50s, right? The thing in the brain and the jaw. But it won't, but I mean, what if it is? Then wow.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean, if I had to bet without the Godfather quotes, I'd be like, Omega isn't going to be a part of this. Omega is not a thing. Omega is not developed enough for them to have dealt with her to know what her end game is or to reveal it yet. So, but at the end of the day, I mean, if he does become the mafioso dude by the end of it, and you put Omega out there, I mean, it would be a fascinating story if Omega and Mace were to show up, if Omega and Mace were to be a part of his future thing. I mean, that is a very, very fun place to take the story. You know what I mean? Boba's long lost sister. And
but then it becomes her story. That's the Corleone thing. Is that so? Like a season 2 would, I don't know. It makes more sense. But anyways, we're gonna hit an hour if we don't wrap this up. So
yeah,
we put a lot out there. I think for those who stick around for the back end of the show, right, bottom of the hour.
You know what we're doing.
62 degrees. High chance of precipitation.
The bottom of the
hour. I know, right? Then you got some nuggets. You got some nuggies. You got some Star Wars nuggies for you.
Star Wars nuggies.
And all the fixins.
All the nuggies. Yeah.
All right. Well, you all have a good weekend. See you in about 90 minutes when the real news drops.
Yeah, right. Yeah, honestly, after I pick up my son from school, if anything happens, I'll be back on, and if you're around, I'll send you the link, and we'll jump back on and tackle it if anything happens. I mean, it is Friday, but I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't feel it. I don't feel it in the ether. Do you? We'll see. All right, everyone. By the way, I keep forgetting. I need to play my Patreon ad. I'm going to play my Patreon ad, then I'm going to go and call it a day. Thanks to everyone. Thanks for hanging out with me today, Rob. And me and Rob will be back on Monday if we don't come back before then for some reason.
Mando Mondays. See you there.
Mando Mondays with
Thank you. Fuck you. Goodbye.
Wait, sorry, I just changed it. Now it's Omega Mondays after today's episode. Hi, I'm a cartoon depiction of Jason Ward. You can support the show on patreon.com/MakingStarWars or on YouTube by becoming a channel member. It hurts to be a cartoon. It's very painful, in fact. But know that every time this channel gains a supporter, a little piece of my soul leaves this toon universe and returns to Jason, making us whole again. This show will always be free, but it's never been free to create. If you think it deserves it, become a channel member or a Patreon supporter. Thank you for the support. Please.
It's not about spaceships.
Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show.